These brands sell you a $5,000 bag like it's completely normal, but most of them started in ways so random or ridiculous you would laugh if it wasn't true. One guy literally wrecked his wife's waffle iron while experimenting with shoes. Another started selling ties from a single drawer in an office building. Some luxury empires even began making equipment for horses. Today we're going through the strangest and funniest beginnings of famous fashion brands, in rough order of how is this actually real. Nike. Nike started when running coach Bill Bowerman tried to invent a better sole for his athletes. One morning he looked at his wife's waffle iron and wondered if that pattern could improve grip on running shoes. He poured rubber into the waffle iron to test the idea. The experiment worked, creating the famous waffle sole pattern. He may have ruined breakfast that day, but that strange kitchen experiment helped launch what would later become the largest sportswear company in the world. Gucci. Gucci began in 1921 in Florence as a small leather shop selling saddles, luggage, and travel accessories. The founder, Guccio Gucci, had worked as a porter at luxury hotels in London, where he carried bags for wealthy travelers. Watching their elegant luggage inspired him to create his own leather goods. After World War II, metal was scarce in Italy, so the company began using bamboo for bag handles. That improvisation turned into the iconic Gucci bamboo bag, now one of the brand's most recognizable designs. Ralph Lauren began his fashion career in 1967, selling wide neckties out of a single drawer inside the Empire State Building. He had no formal training in fashion and no big investors behind him. At the time, most ties were narrow, but Lauren believed men wanted something bolder. His wide ties quickly became popular and gave him enough success to expand into shirts and full clothing collections. From that one drawer, he eventually built a massive lifestyle brand that turned preppy American style into a global symbol of success. Chanel. Gabrielle Coco. Chanel had one of the most unlikely paths into fashion. She grew up in an orphanage where she first learned how to sew. As a young woman, she worked as a cabaret singer before opening a small hat shop in Paris in 1910 with financial help from a wealthy companion. Her designs were simpler and more comfortable than the elaborate clothing women wore at the time. From those hats, she eventually created the little black dress and the famous Chanel No. 5 perfume. Prada started in 1913 as a small leather goods shop in Milan, serving wealthy Italian clients. For decades, the brand focused on traditional luxury products like handbags and travel trunks. Everything changed in the late 1970s when Miuccia Prada took over the company. Instead of continuing with classic leather designs, she introduced a backpack made from industrial nylon, normally used for military equipment. At first, it seemed strange for a luxury brand, but the minimalist nylon backpack became incredibly popular and completely changed how modern luxury fashion looked. Balenciaga. Cristobal Balenciaga grew up in Spain, where his mother worked as a seamstress. As a child, he learned to sew by watching and helping her with clothing repairs. By his early 20s, he had already opened his own fashion house and gained attention for his extremely precise tailoring. Later, he moved to Paris and became famous for bold shapes and sculptural clothing designs that looked almost architectural. His technical skill was so respected that Christian Dior once called him the master of us all. Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton opened his workshop in Paris in 1854 after training as a professional trunk maker and packer for wealthy travelers. At that time, travel trunks had rounded tops so rainwater could run off them, but the shape made them difficult to stack during long journeys. Vuitton solved this problem by designing flat-top trunks covered in durable canvas. They were lighter, easier to stack on trains and ships, and much more practical for travel. That simple improvement helped turn his small workshop into the foundation of a global luxury empire. Hermès began in 1837 making saddles and harnesses for horses. In the 19th century, horse-drawn carriages were the main form of transportation, so strong leather equipment was extremely important. The brand became famous for its careful hand-stitching and high-quality craftsmanship. When cars replaced horses, the company adapted by using the same leather skills to create bags and accessories. The saddle stitch technique developed for horse equipment is still used by hand today on famous Hermès bags like the Birkin and the Kelly. Dior. Christian Dior founded his fashion house in Paris in 1946, just after World War II. At that time, clothing was still simple and practical because of wartime fabric shortages. Dior introduced a new collection that used large amounts of fabric for the dramatic skirts and narrow waists. The design shocked the fashion world and became known as the New Look. It brought glamour back to women's clothing and helped restore Paris as the center of global fashion after the war. Versace was founded in 1978 by Italian designer Gianni Versace. Unlike many designers of his time, Versace embraced bold colors, dramatic prints, and glamorous styles inspired by Greek mythology and art. His runway shows were energetic and theatrical, helping fashion become entertainment. Versace also played a huge role in creating the supermodel era of the 1990s by featuring famous models together on the runway. His fearless designs made Versace one of the most recognizable luxury fashion brands in the world. Burberry. Burberry started in 1856 when Thomas Burberry opened a small clothing shop in England. He invented a special fabric called gabardine that was both breathable and waterproof. This material became extremely useful for outdoor clothing and military uniforms. During World War I, British soldiers wore trench coats made from Burberry gabardine. After the war, the trench coat became popular among civilians as well, eventually turning into one of the most iconic pieces of luxury fashion. Fendi. Fendi began in Rome in 1925 as a small leather and fur shop run by Adele and Edoardo Fendi. The brand became known for its high-quality fur craftsmanship and elegant leather goods. Later designer Karl Lagerfeld joined the company and introduced the famous double F logo, which stood for Fun Fur. His creative direction helped transform the family-run shop into a globally recognized luxury fashion brand. Cartier. Cartier was founded in Paris in 1847 as a small jewelry workshop. The brand quickly gained attention for creating elegant pieces for royalty and aristocrats across Europe. King Edward VII of Britain famously called Cartier the jeweler of kings and the king of jewelers. Over time, the brand created iconic pieces like the tank watch and the love bracelet, which are still some of the most recognizable luxury accessories today. Loewe. Loewe began in Madrid in 1846 as a collective of skilled leather craftsmen who specialized in handmade leather goods. Their reputation for craftsmanship attracted wealthy customers from across Spain. Over time, the workshop developed into a full luxury fashion brand, while maintaining its traditional leather-making techniques. Today, Loewe is known for combining Spanish craftsmanship with modern design innovation. From waffle irons and tiny drawers to saddles and orphanages, luxury brands rarely begin in glamorous ways. Most start with simple ideas, unexpected accidents, or people solving practical problems. Over time, those small beginnings grow into global fashion empires worth billions. The strange part is that the wilder the origin story, the bigger the brand often becomes.